I told on Jeremy, I had time to think about it since the meeting on Friday. I'm rethinking about even accepting her apology now, realizing I made a grateful mistake. I should have brought up. She stopped me, and I cannot work with that. I don't think we can work with this because it's not acceptable to me that she did that. Because it's not acceptable. Even Georgina, my late friend Georgina, even would say that's not acceptable. Even my support worker even says it's not acceptable, and it's not acceptable. I will be bringing it up. I'm going to bring it up anyway, so I will be bringing it up. I will say I accept your I will not accept your apology until you apologize for what you did downstairs at the Riddell Center, because it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You do not intimidate somebody and think it's acceptable. You do not. It's acceptable. And I'm frustrated that you do not believe me. It happened. It's hard. I do not find that acceptable. That's not acceptable. The University of Regina is not like that. You do not go intimidate somebody and make it sound like they didn't do anything wrong, and now she's making it sound like she did nothing wrong. She's saying, oh, he decided to cancel the meeting. I didn't cancel the meeting. She forced me to cancel the meeting. And we and Regina talked about it a lot. She forced me to cancel the meeting. To cancel that meeting. She forced me to. And that's frustrating. She forced me to cancel the meeting. I would never cancel the meeting. She forced me by waiting for me. The practicum student was even downstairs when this happened. She did this right in front of the practicum student for Campus for All. Right in front of her. Right in the Riddell Center. And it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable. And I should have said something on Friday. It's not acceptable to me. That's not acceptable. You do not go and block somebody and now blame me for the meeting. Say, oh, Jamie canceled the meeting. I didn't cancel the meeting. She did. And she needs to be made aware. She canceled it. And Jeff finding that acceptable? I can't understand that office. Jeff can find that acceptable? That one of his staff can come down and intimidate somebody? Is that the approach that they're using to approach people now? To tell them to stop doing things when we have the right to do things under the Human Rights Code and under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Yeah, it's not acceptable. Yeah, it's not acceptable. I don't find it acceptable. Yeah, I don't find it acceptable. So that's why I'm rethinking about this thing, because I don't find it acceptable. I don't find it acceptable at all. Yeah, I don't find it acceptable. And yeah, I don't find it acceptable. And I don't know why I'm going to go through with this Campus for All stuff when really I can't find it acceptable. When somebody comes downstairs, forces me to cancel a meeting, and now saying that I canceled the meeting, that's not acceptable. And that's what I mean. I had time to think about it since the weekend. I had time to think about it since the weekend. That's why I've changed my mind. I had time to think about it over the weekend. So I've changed my mind a bit. I'm willing to go through with this part of the meeting. I'm not going to bring it up, but I'm filing a complaint after the meeting. I want to self-follow the complaint because that's ridiculous. It's not acceptable, and it's not acceptable that she can force people to cancel meetings and say it's fine, and say it's fine. It's not fine. It's abusive. It's very abusive. You go intimidate someone and say I canceled the meeting. I agreed to cancel the meeting. I had no choice. She was waiting for me downstairs to make sure I canceled the meeting, and we didn't bring that up. I was waiting for you to bring that up. That's why and I didn't want to argue, but I was going to approach her and say, wait a minute, you forced me to cancel the meeting. You should have said, when she said that I canceled the meeting, you should have said, oh, Jamie has brought it to my attention that you were waiting for him at the bottom of the Riddell Center, and you forced the meeting. And that gave me time to think about it over the weekend. It gave me time over the weekend to think about it. Yeah, it gave me time to think about it over the weekend. Yeah, it gave me time to think about it over the weekend. And that's why I'm rethinking about what I've said. Because it gave me time. After hearing her out, that gave me time to rethink about it. So yeah, that gave me present enough time to think about it. Okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.